Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Mike Armstrong podcast show. And this evening, we're joined by Tania Schoultz, who is business development from EKM, joining us all the way from sunny Preston in the northwest of England.
Yes.
And how are you doing today, Tania? Are you okay?
I'm doing all right. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for bringing us on the show today.
No problem at all. And I detect that accent doesn't sound that much like it's from Preston. Where is it from originally?
No, I'm originally from Zimbabwe. So
Yeah.
Africa. Yeah. So it's when I'm working in the world of e-commerce, I've got a lovely story to share with you guys, because obviously I'm from Zimbabwe. My grandparents had a farm, and I remember the days of when my grandparents had what they call trunk calls. So that was the model before smoke signals. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm now working in this e-commerce world where we're now doing podcasts. So you know what, I've done like a real full circle of technology, and so it's very exciting. It's very exciting. I feel like I'm a four-trekker, as they call us,
Brilliant. And yes, I don't think I've had anyone from Zimbabwe on my podcast before. So now that means you're going to live forever on my map on the wall.
Fantastic.
I got a map on the wall where I stick red pins in. I'm looking to cover the whole map of the world red.
Right.
I'm going to put one in Zimbabwe. I've got a few in Africa, but none in Zimbabwe. And I'll stick one in Preston as well, because that's where you are too.
So, yeah, double whammy for you. Hey, well done.
Exactly. Happy days. I haven't got much space in the UK, to be honest with you, where to put pins. But I got plenty of space in Russia. So if you know anyone from Russia, then send them my way.
Right. Well, unfortunately, I don't. But I know Serbia. So that's like next door, isn't it?
That's not far. That's not far. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about EKM and what you do for them.
Okay. So EKM is an e-commerce platform. So we basically specialize in setting up online shops for customers. So the beauty about what we do is that we're actually a service-focused provider where we help businesses, especially small to medium-sized and startups, evolve into the world of e-commerce. We've got like 70 templates that customers can choose from. And in some cases, we've been able to get customers trading online within 24 hours. So it's perfect for where we are in the world, that, with the virus and everything like that. And obviously we've seen a lot of growth because we're kind of helping businesses support themselves because they can't do that much trading in the retail sector, for example, so it's so that's what we do.
So is EKM a bit like what's the Shopify or whatever? It's like a white labeled e-commerce.
Well, no, I mean, EKM is like a Shopify. It's a British version of it. But where we special is that we're customer focused. So we're about helping people get to understand the world of e-commerce. We educate them, we show them how to use the templates, and then we obviously take them into the next stage of development, which is your marketing side of things. So we look after their PPC and the email and social media marketing. We're also very lucky enough to have introduced an academy, and the academy is now available to anybody out. Even you don't have to be on the platform in order to benefit from it, but the academy is there to kind of educate and show people how they can take something that they love and make a success out of it.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah, that's good. So I used to have an e-commerce business myself back a while ago. And,
all right.
That's how I learned how to do web design. That's how I learned how to do SEO. That's how I learned to do social media marketing. Sort of things, really. Do you do the SEO as well with the products?
Well, we do indeed. But obviously, being part of EKM, we've got our own SEO, so you kind of tap into it, don't you? So by having a shop on EKM, you immediately have the relationship with EKM, so it puts you in front of everybody else. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so that's one of the benefits as well.
You get the domain value from the EKM domain, like
Exactly. I mean, this is the beauty about EKM is platforms like Shopify and WordPress and those kind of platforms is they kind of are very self-supporting. So you've got to kind of know, in a sense, what you're doing. I mean, yes, there are avenues that you can kind of tap into and get kind of advice and support, but that adds on to the cost of what you're doing. Whereas with EKM, we have a one-off fee for a particular service, and then you don't have to worry that there's any hidden charges or anything like that. I mean, we've even got a gateway specialist that will negotiate rates on behalf of the customers for them. So if they don't feel that the rate is right for them, then they obviously speak to the gateway specialist, and he'll go and then negotiate rates for, to make sure that they're on the best rate that they can possibly achieve. But we don't have any hidden fees. So, there's a one-off fee on a monthly basis. We don't charge for any of the features that we've got. That's all incorporated. And one of the good things about EKM is we do something called evolution mode, which is basically an MOT for the website. Now, I'm sure as you're experienced enough in the world, you'll understand that when you're actually going on the website and you're kind of like looking at things, and you'll find a website and immediately you'll recognize that this looks a bit old and dated. So you tend to navigate away. And this is what we don't want, is we don't want people to find those kind of websites. So we offer an MOT service where we get all of the experts within the team to analyze the website. We will then suggest to the client, okay, after a year, maybe this is what you need to do to make it a little bit more fresh and current. And depending on whether the customer wants to do it or not, obviously, all they need to do is say, yes, let's go. And we'll obviously implement those changes to make it looking a little bit more current in today's market. So, that kind of thing, that kind of thing costs money. Whereas we've built it into the price so that it's not something that you've got to bank and save for further down the line.
Sounds like a really much needed package. As somebody who does I dabble a bit with web design myself, but it's not my core service. I do a lot of digital marketing and SEO and all that sort of stuff. But I'm looking to pull away more from doing services and more doing mentor coaching and all that sort of thing.
Fantastic, yeah. Big market for that, isn't there?
And the advice and all of that. And I from my experience, there's a lot of people do struggle with e-commerce. They struggle with things like keeping the products and services up to date. All websites struggle with keeping the websites up to date. A lot of with SEO, things like news feeds or regular changing of content in order to get higher up the rankings.
You've hit it on the head there. This is the beauty about platforms like EKM, is that we're the specialists. That's what our job is. Our job is to make that side of things very easy for you, and then to educate you on it. Now, what we've got 4 different packages. We've got a basic package that is really there for your self-serving customers who really want to kind of like take control of their websites and are quite happy to dive in and do their bits and pieces. Whereas we've got standard and above, where there's an account management service, and those account managers are there to support and advise and guide the customer and evolve them and help that business grow. And I mean, I mean, there's a lot of I'm originally from a financial services background, and I've been with EKM now for about 10 months. And I mean, for me, I'm kissing 50. You wouldn't believe it, would you?
No, not at all.
But I know that when I came to EKM and I started to learn about the platform and how it operated, I was a bit intimidated to start with, because although, like I've explained earlier on, I mean, my background is from Zimbabwe. I come from this world of bush and all that kind of stuff. I mean, a lot of people are going to be like me, where suddenly we're being thrown into a world where, we no longer have an outlet for us to be able to trade from, because obviously of all these strange restrictions and the silly virus and all that kind of stuff. And where do you go? I mean, imagine the world right now if there was no platform, e-commerce platform, if there was no internet. Okay, I think everything would just completely shut down.
Yeah, well, actually, in a way, I think actually what would happen is they wouldn't be able to lock everyone down, because people would have to go carry on shopping and whatever. So,
well, there you go. But I mean,
as well, because like to me, I think this coronavirus is like Mother Nature's way of doing a bit of a cull, because we grow the resources of the planet.
Yeah.
My own sort of
I kind of get you there. I mean, I kind of see where you're going from, because exactly. At the end of the day, what it's done is it's shut down borders in a sense. People can't go over abroad as much and as regular and as consistent as we have been. I mean, in my opinion, I mean, I used to live in London, and London, coming from Zimbabwe, was a very noisy city. Okay. And then I moved up to Preston, and I'll tell you what, I used to wake up in the morning and it would be calm and quiet. And it was like, wow, this is really the difference from living in a hustle bustle city.
I live in Wales and don't go anywhere else, because Wales is similar, peaceful.
Yeah. peaceful, exactly. But for the universe, and like you say, how Mother Nature is kind of saying, listen, guys, you all need to calm down. But what I've kind of experienced in this epidemic is how suddenly I have lived in my house for 8 years, and I've not really engaged with any of my neighbors. Okay, it's just been a hello, how are you? Hello, how are you? But since this lockdown, we're sharing scones, we're sharing biscuits, you know. I mean, okay, that's not like me, but we're now engaging with them more than ever. And I mean, one of the beautiful things about what EKM have done is they've got like a side product called the Bodo.shop. And what that's been set up for is to support your local businesses. So your butchers, your bakers, your candlestick makers, those guys that were going to get really hit. But what that's also allowed is for them to compete against your Asdas and all those kind of guys, because now suddenly the local community recognize that the butcher can either click and collect or you can deliver. And you know what? It suddenly puts everybody in an equal platform, in my opinion, because now, I mean, obviously, you know, you've got your marketing and things like that. But I think when it's forcing people to look local,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, we're seeing a magnificent amount of growth at EKM because we're before the lockdown, you would knock on people's doors and say, hey, how about kind of setting up shop? And they're like, oh, no, I'm happy in my little retail outlet or whatever they were doing. And then, of course, that's been taken away from them, or it's been reduced so much. I mean, I've got a guy on the platform that was doing American sweets. And prior to the lockdown, 90% of his business was in his shop and 10% was online. That's completely flipped. So he's now got 90% of business going through the online platform, and only 10% is in his shop. And I mean, you know, thank God he had a website.
Yeah.
Because if he didn't have a website, then how would you, and you know, I mean, it's interesting times for a lot of people right now, I think.
No, I think is that the COVID has done two things. It's either made people look local because they're
Yep.
home all the time, and so therefore local shops have been doing fantastic, and a lot of the chains, if you like, of local shops have been doing fantastic and expanding and all of that. Or it's made them look global, you know, which is what I've done, you know, because everyone's online now, so therefore there's no barrier to entry, like, you know.
I was about to say, and the beauty about the e-commerce in general is that there are no boundaries.
No.
There's no boundaries. There's no restrictions. You can go further afield. I mean, the only thing that I would be concerned with right now is obviously how long it might take for things to come in from abroad, because obviously we're now going back into another 6-month restriction and da 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 da. I mean, some experts are saying we could be here for about a year, 2 years. I mean, this is our new reality. This is the way things are going to be now. I mean, I don't think we're ever going to go back to where people go and shop in Blue Water, for example, and those kind of, you know, big shopping centers and stuff.
All the businesses that go bust aren't going to be replaced by real world ones. And all of the successful businesses in the next 10, 15, 20 years are all going to be tech businesses that were like Amazon, if you like, ready for this sort of situation because they're already selling online, they're already distributing or delivering or whatever.
But this is it. I mean, platforms like Amazon and eBay, for example, I mean, and this is what we generally see is that, you know, businesses will have played on the Amazon and eBay marketplaces and recognized, oh, actually, hang on, I've got a business here. But these guys are taking, like, I've got this guy who sells biltong, and he's the leading supplier on Amazon for biltong. But they're taking 30% of his revenue in charges because of the place in which he's selling. So when you set up a website, what we do is we bring that traffic to the website. And of course, your charges drop to what, 2-3%, if that. Do you know what I mean? It's a completely different ball game. And I mean,
you know, you're on Amazon or eBay, you're paying high rent, whereas actually you have your own e-commerce now, you're paying much lower rent, if you like.
But a lot of people don't know how to shift it. And they wouldn't know how to shift it unless they come to a company like EKM that will be able to educate them and say, hang on, guys, listen, this is what we can do for you. We can kind of start bringing the traffic over this way. I mean, we've got features that integrate with eBay and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, when you log onto your website, your dashboard's there. You can see what your stock feed is with eBay and so on and so forth. So it's not like you're having to log into various different places. It's all there for you. You don't, there's no chaos in a sense. I mean, we integrate with the retail sector, so EPOS systems and things like that. And I mean, when you start to have one center point, it's almost like a CRM in a sense, isn't it, for your business? Everybody kind of like tries to kind of invoice and all. I mean, I just think that that the world of e-commerce is starting to really kind of take its place within the world. I mean, I work obviously in the business development team, and part of my role is to look for people to refer to us. Okay, but
do you have do you have an affiliate deal?
Yeah, we do indeed. Yeah, definitely. I mean, what we do is we, it's free to join, very easy to set up. We send you a referral link, and you basically just talk about EKM. If somebody's interested and is looking at the options that we've got available to you, then they just send the details through. One of our guys will get in contact. Obviously, give them a consultation. If the platform's right for them, great, we sign them up. If not, then we'll tell them no, that you're better off going somewhere else, because not everybody drives a Porsche. Okay, so we understand that, but it's always about meeting the customer's needs, isn't it? So, and then we pay 25% revenue share for the life of the sign up, for as long as they're on the platform. So for some of my partners, it's almost like a pension system. I mean, I'm paying out 2, 3, 4, 5 grand a month for their partner account, because they've been referring for 2, 3 years. And I mean, once that person comes on board, EKM's job is to make sure that we look after them and we get them evolving. And as long as these customers are earning money, and as long as we're implementing, development, making sure that they're current and giving them all the nice trendy little kind of add-ons that they're going to need, then they stay with us. I mean, we've had customers that have been with us for 15 years. I mean, EKM has been established for 17. Yeah. So that just kind of says a lot,
I'm definitely becoming a partner myself, because, like I say, I dabble with building brochure sites.
Okay.
I don't do e-commerce.
There you go. Now, we can do brochure sites. We can do information sites. Yeah. But generally, when you actually look at the templates, they are there for specifically shops. And I mean, for generating business for companies, do you know what I mean? So, if it is an information website that you're looking for, then yeah, we can accommodate it. But our core business is setting up an online shop or a cart for a business to be able to trade from, So somebody like yourself would be a perfect partner for us. Because obviously, if anybody comes to us and it doesn't fit, then we can pass to you, and vice versa. But that's the way the world is starting to work right now. It's all about sharing. It's about recognizing what your core business is, and then going, okay, fine, let's team up with somebody that can plug a hole.
Yeah, I do a lot of business networking, so I meet a lot of business people all the time, and I'm always looking for products that are global as well. And obviously, an e-commerce shop, you can buy it. I guess you service clients everywhere, do you?
We do. We are dominant in the UK, don't get me wrong, but we have got customers in Europe and America and places like that. And I mean, this is another thing, is that, I'm talking to some really kind of big companies in the US that's looking to look at e-commerce as offering some very big, without going into too much detail, but some very big companies that are recognizing that now that is going to become part of an offering. So, you set up a bank account, you get a credit card, you get and so the website comes with it. It's almost, you remember the days of the mobile phones and the big bricks. And I mean, now everything's done on our mobile phone. Yeah. I mean, okay, yes, I'm on my laptop now because it's convenient, but I mean, I could take this call on a bus if I needed to. Yeah. And I mean, now this is where it's all becoming part of. I mean, I would imagine in 10, 15 years time, people are going to have websites just for their personal use, just to kind of communicate with their people. I mean, there's going to be maybe a Zoom link in there, and I mean, we're talking about back to the future, aren't we? Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
do you have information about your packages, etc., which I could put on my web design website?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you www.ekm.com is a great starting point, but obviously, I mean, what I would be able to do with you, Mike, is provide you with a specific link, so that obviously, if anybody is interested in kind of looking at EKM, then they can come through you. What I would be able to do with the situation is, offer your customers like a 28-day free trial where they can obviously come along, have a look at the website, have a conversation. I mean, I would highly recommend that they sign up to a standard package, because that's when they get the opportunity to talk to one of our account managers, and they can then work with the customer for a month. If the customer doesn't feel it's right for them, then that's great. They haven't lost anything. Also, if they are on other platforms like Shopify or whatever, and I hate kind of always relating to Shopify as the key business, but I mean, you know, Wix and all the rest.
Use it, don't they? A lot of people use.
I mean, yeah, a lot of people do use it, but you know what? Shopify is quite expensive, in my opinion. I mean, they've got a 2% additional charge on their gateway, okay, and also the basic package is what it is, but once you actually get in there and you start going, oh, I like that feature and I like that feature, then there's this quid and that quid. I mean, I did a cost comparison with a customer one day, and I mean, she's on our basic package, which is only £32.49 a month, right? And when I actually looked at what she was getting through Shopify, she was actually paying 80 quid a month.
Yeah.
But the initial introductory kind of cost was less than what EKM offer. But there's no surprises with EKM. You know, it's that fee, and that's what, and yet we give you all these other bits and pieces. I mean, our support service, in other words, we've got like we've got a support team that will obviously help the customers if the account managers aren't there, for example. However, we've also got blog sites where our marketing team are constantly advising of the developments and changes that are happening. In fact, they just released something about the effects of COVID and how it's impacting on businesses. So it's a very, very interesting read. But, you know, we're constantly trying to educate and feed, and we've got video. I mean, Anthony, the guy who owns the business, he's got a YouTube channel, so he's got loads of like
YouTube channel called just EKM or something else.
Yeah, ekm.com, and it's Anthony Chesworth. He's our CEO. Amazing guy, amazing, from Burnley, you know, kind of really cool guy. I mean, if anybody's really keen and listening to this podcast and wanting to learn more, I mean, go and have a look at www.ekm.com. Have a look at the space there. It's the most sexiest building I've seen. Okay, it's got a massive slide. So if anybody partners with us, you're not official until you've kind of been down the slide. We've got a built-in gym. We have a camper van where where it's all pimped out. We've got like neon lights and TV screens and everything like that. I mean, it's something, you step out of the camper van and it's like grass and wood. It's just a really sexy building. You know, for Preston. I mean, I used to live in London for 20 years before I moved up here. And when I met EKM, I walked into this building and it was just wow. I mean, we walked down the corridors and all the walls changed color, you know, and I was like, I mean, I'm getting goosies even just talking about it right now. And I mean, you know what, when somebody loves what they do, that's, in my opinion, that's the result. I mean, we've got an auditorium where, you know, we hold events. We've had a load of the guys from Apprentice and Dragon's Den, and we hosted an event at the beginning of the year called Microbiz Matters. I mean, it's exciting and empowering, and it's you know, when you're working with people that love what they do, everything becomes so easy.
Yeah. Do you have an affiliate program for recruiters of affiliates?
Well, recruiters of affiliates, not really, but I mean, that's something that we could look at. Definitely. I mean, you know what, that's not even been discussed yet. But I mean, if I found somebody who could recruit affiliates, well, I'd love that.
I'm like a global networker, and my job is I've been in sales for 32 years.
Okay.
I'm into tech and IT.
Yeah.
I could easily recruit other people who could recruit people for you. You know, so like other web designers, so anyone who builds brochure sites, who doesn't do e-commerce, and I know quite a few people like that.
Yeah.
Recruit them to be your affiliates, if you like. So as an affiliate, you would make a 25% commission. You said, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what we do at the moment. 25% revenue share of the monthly sign up. Yes. But of course, if they come on the basic, then and we'll evolve them, I mean, obviously they go up the platforms. I mean, that will be reflected in the account, in the
Yeah.
partner's
I would
account.
say to
But I
you,
mean, so what you're probably suggesting is that you're an introducer for the affiliates.
yeah,
So that's something that we've never really looked at before.
no,
And I mean, I would very welcome
yeah.
that,
And
because that,
your Anthony Cheswick, right, would love the
that
idea because he sounds very much like me, very creative entrepreneur, right?
oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, Anthony wants everybody to do what they love. And I
Yeah,
mean, if you've got something that you're passionate about, I
yeah,
mean, that's what the whole infrastructure of EKM is about, is like, come on board. Look, there are going to be geeky people that think that will know that they can do it on their own. Well, that's great. I mean, if that's how you feel, then fine. I mean, maybe EKM is not the right platform for you, but we know that there's a lot of businesses out there that are probably so intimidated right now. They know that they need to make a step into the e-commerce world. I mean, a lot of the experts are saying now that this COVID virus has brought the whole world of e-commerce forward 10 years. So, they suddenly being thrown into this world. It's like, oh my God, I really have no idea what an HTML is. And
yeah. I would argue 20 to 30, I would argue myself.
sorry,
I would argue 20 to 30 years.
would you? Ah, okay. Maybe I'm being a bit,
No, 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 a lot of people are saying 10, but actually, I think the amount of people that have switched to online would have taken them
yeah,
20 to 30 years to get that many online. In,
yeah. And in such a short period of time. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because I'm 42, and generally,
Okay.
all the people older than me in business, right, were slow to e-commerce and online, right?
That's it.
And
That's it.
that's to the 65. So 42 to 65, 23 years. It would
That's
have
it.
taken 23 years for the generation older than me, yeah, to have retired and whatever, for then everyone to be online.
Gotcha. I
Yeah,
gotcha. I gotcha. I
yeah.
gotcha.
But because they've all been forced online, it's accelerated by about 20 to 23 years, I would say.
Okay. Okay. Well, then Anthony is only a youngster, though. You know.
Yeah.
And I mean, these youngsters, they probably think 10 years is big, you know what I mean? But I mean, I'm kissing 50, and I think I'm EKM's perfect customer,
Yeah.
because, although I'm confident because I've been taught by EKM and they've shown me the ropes and all that kind of stuff. And when you're in the mix, you learn quicker, don't you?
Of course you do.
But I can imagine if I was a business right now, I would have been. I mean, I've always been hesitant about being online because it's I like the face to face. I like to be touchy feely.
It's
You know what I
just what
mean?
you're used to.
Yeah, exactly. That's because that's what I'm familiar with,
Yeah.
and I mean, I know that that's the target audience that EKM wants to look after, because those are the guys that need to get there quick.
They're all the
You
people that
know.
I deal with, like, they're all the people I deal
Mm,
with. This is why I know, like, it would have taken 23 years for those people to have
mm,
retired, like,
mm,
because those people I've been trying to get kicking and screaming into the e-commerce world,
mm.
I've been doing that for 8 years as a
Yeah,
business, educating those people. And you can pull the forward thinkers in that sector towards that, but the others who were used to what they were used to and didn't want to get used to anything else, they didn't want
that's it.
to do it. They've all been
Yeah.
forced into getting used to it now because there's no other
And
way.
they've got no choice. Exactly.
No choice.
Exactly.
People don't like
Yeah. So
they're forced into it, really.
that's it. That's it. But I think also, like you absolutely say, it's that older generation that have got no choice right now. If
Yeah.
they want to survive, they either shut shop and maybe retire, but can they afford to? Or and then, but the thing is, then they've got to learn about this world of e-commerce,
Yeah.
and that's where it all starts to get really scary.
All the stuff
Hmm?
that goes with it then. SEO, digital marketing, social media, it's all
That's it.
part of
That's it.
the
I mean, social media in itself. I mean, since I've been at EKM, I'm now seeing social media managers popping up and going, "Hi, I'll look after your social media platforms." Whereas 10 months ago, I wasn't seeing that. I didn't even think that there was the business opportunity there. I mean, personally, I spend at least 4 hours a day on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, just kind of like networking and getting to know people and all that kind of stuff. I mean, 4 hours of my day is spent socializing on these flat platforms. Now, imagine if you're an established business, okay, and you've got these platforms. I mean, how can you run a business and also spend 4 hours a day socializing and marketing yourself. It's now created a new job role. So now people are coming in and going, yeah, well, I can do that for you. And I mean, yes, of course, there's artificial stuff out there that can do that. But I think a lot of people are starting to work out with the AI stuff is that it's a robot that's doing
Yeah, they can tell it's not authentic.
Exactly. It's not authentic. Exactly. And my place is I still like to keep that authenticity. I don't use any artificial intelligence to do any of my marketing. I look and I see what that person's all about and does that fit with me? And oh yeah, that does fit with me. Let me introduce myself. You know, these artificial guys, the artificial robots, they just yeah, and you know what? And that's where it all starts to melt down, in my opinion. So it's a case of trying to find that balance, I think.
Yeah, I think it's because, again, once you're old school, you don't mind learning some new school tricks, but you also keep those old school values.
Exactly. But I think old school values are really important because it's what's got us where we are today. And I mean, I don't want to be in a world where I don't respect people and I have no personality. I don't want to talk to a robot. No. I mean, you know, who wants to talk to a robot?
And well, people, the older generation, if you like, they're the people I've been working with to help them get online, and they're the people now who are going to go online in a big way because people who have been around longer in business, they're making more money, they got more money to spend on the tech. So they will adapt to it quickly, and years to come, the youngsters who won't have those old school values because they never did the face-to-face meetings, they never did the handshakes and the personal skills. That's where I'll teach all of those people those skills in the future. When values have been depleted because everyone's been doing instant messaging sales.
Yeah, I mean, you know, how many times do you go into a social space and everybody sat there on their phones and it's like, hello, I'm here. I'm here.
To actually in a real world, because they're so facing a phone sort of thing.
But they say now, I mean, but the thing is, that's just where we are right now. And I mean, we've got to, we as the older generation need to understand that that's where the younger generation are. But I think sometimes it's a case of trying to educate people that, you know what, you kind of, although technology is taking us down a certain route, there are still some certain values that we can hang on to. I mean, my job is to go out and network, but of course that's not, it's like one of my arms is gone because I can't go out and do things, right? So I've now got to do all of these kind of Zoom meetings and things like that. And you know what, but it helps a lot to have a face as opposed to just some words from a picture, you know.
You're joining on Friday, aren't you, at the Intrabiz event online?
Sorry?
You said you're joining me on Friday, aren't you?
I am indeed. Yes. You know what? I mean, it's all about, you just got to go out and meet as many people and just spread the word. And you know what? Somebody will need help from EKM. I know that. And I mean, when they're ready for that help, we're going to be there and we're going to show them what we do. I mean, we've got 5-star reviews on Trustpilot. We've got over 2,000 reviews on there that people are going, you know, thank God for EKM because, you know, I was struggling before. Now coming on to EKM, you know what? On some, with one of our particular packages, on the Pro package, we kind of see 25% growth in business because of the interaction with the account managers, or the pros as we call them. You know, 25% growth on any business is fantastic. I mean, in some cases, we're seeing 60, 70, 80%. Now, depending, obviously, business is business, and some businesses are going to grow quickly. Some businesses are just going to trickle along. But on average, our pro service sees a 25% growth over the year. And I just think, you know what, I'd take that any day of the week. You know, can you do that on your own? Great. If you can, fantastic, brilliant. I'm not challenging you. I'm saying congratulations. But there are so many people out there that are probably feeling so lost. They don't know where to go, what to do. They probably have a website and it's probably not delivering the results that they need. If that's the case, come and speak to us. I mean, we'll do a free migration. We'll bring it over from whatever platform you're on. We'll give it a revamp, and then we'll start implementing certain strategies to try and kind of generate business. And like I said, we've got a fantastic PPC email marketing team, with social media marketing team. You know what, it's almost like joining a community, and we care and we love about what we do. And I think, you know what, I've got customers who are speaking with people like Shopify, and they get an email from Shopify, and it's the Shopify customer service team. There's not even a name at the end of it.
No.
Now, I don't want to live in that world.
With a lot of these tech companies that are run by youngsters who haven't got those old values, which is why they're being taught to them, is that it's all nameless, faceless transactions, and therefore that's why a lot of them, that's why MySpace lost all its customers to Facebook, because they had no interaction with their customers, so there was no loyalty. And actually, come along from and take Facebook. You know, a better Facebook or a better LinkedIn or a better Twitter, people will check it because there's no loyalty, no connection.
And you know, another thing about EKM is if that's not what we know much about, or if we're not confident in delivering the right result for you, you know, we've got this partner base like that we've got a partner base that we can trust and recommend, and they can then go to, you know, because again, I mean, you've got this whole internet thing, and you go out there, and how do you know that this person's actually real? I mean, how many websites out there are actually legit, and they're not going to rip you off and all that kind of stuff? When you come to a company like EKM, you know, there's a vetted kind of thing we do. We make sure that this customer is not dodgy or anything like that. And so when we recommend you to somebody, we know that they're going to deliver the results that we've recommended. Otherwise, we wouldn't be recommending it.
No.
Do you know what I mean? So that's another safety net for a lot of businesses, is that they know that they're actually coming on into a community that is going to care about their progress and make sure that they're not going down the wrong road. You know.
Definitely, that's good. That's a good fail-safe cover. And I'm sure. I was just going to say to you as well. Do you have at the moment an app integration with your site? Because if you don't, that would be a good development area for you.
That's something that we are developing on. I mean, that's about to. Yeah, I mean, I don't look after that side of the business, but I do know that my colleague Mark has got that in hand. He's there's a couple of conversations going on with Google and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, so that's definitely something that's.
I would have thought Anthony would have been all over that because.
Well, unfortunately, there's been some hiccups with Google. So there's been some backwards and forwards. It's not the easiest thing to deal with is Google.
No, because again, nameless, faceless transactions.
Exactly. And I mean, I know that Mark has had on occasion some knockbacks. So yeah, I mean, it is something that is in development, and I'm hoping that it'll be available to customers pretty soon. But like I say, it's when you, unfortunately, sometimes when you're dealing with a third party, as much as you want to get things done, you've got to wait for them to do things, you know. It's like we're busy working on integration at the moment with a big accountancy package, and that seems to be just dragging its heels, but it's not our side, it's their side, you know. So yeah, but it's business, isn't it? I mean, so, you know, if I could make things happen yesterday, I would.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'd have to wait for somebody else to make those decisions, you know.
IT development and integrations always take a little bit longer than you think they're going to.
Yeah. Because unfortunately, there's hiccups. I mean, and you know, I don't know. There's coding, and I mean, these things take time. But rather wait and get it done properly than rush it through and it's a mess.
Yeah, well, I used to sell high-end IT solutions to 10 million plus turnover businesses, and whenever my IT department gave me a date, I would add a couple of months on, and so they'd tell me like January the 28th or something, and I'd say spring 2021, you know.
Because you're managing the expectations of the client, and you know that there's going to be something. Exactly.
The testing, and you know, holiday and downtime, and you know, there was you know, things you couldn't predict. You know, so I'm used to just managing expectation and
that's it. I mean, who saw the COVID virus coming along? I mean, nobody did they? You know, this is it. You know, this comes along and suddenly, you know, I mean, we had plans before COVID. When COVID, all of those changed. Yeah. So, you know, if you're trying to grow a business, you've got to be fluid, haven't you? You know, and I mean, you know, when you want things to happen, and something like COVID comes along, you just got to kind of just go with the flow and just wait until it all starts to kind of like form back in together again. But I mean, as a platform offering services, it's in my opinion, EKM is a safe place to be for businesses, because you've got the infrastructure there, especially if it's new for you, you know, or you're recognizing that what you have in place is not supporting you enough. Then somewhere like EKM is in my opinion, it's almost like secondary school. You know, you've got these kindergartens and they start there and they realize, actually, hang on, I've got some brains, I need to go to secondary school. And of course then they come to EKM and we can get them to university quite quickly, you know. So yeah, I mean, I think, but again, all I can talk about is my understanding and my experience in life. And I know, I mean, I speak to youngsters, and I even ask the youngsters, I'm like, what do you think? I mean, I'm talking about like early 20s, because I would imagine somebody of that generation would be, they're born with a phone in their hand, aren't they? They kind of, you know, they're doing this already before they're even 3. So I would assume that something like EKM would be a bit, wouldn't challenge them enough. But they say, no, this is just so easy to use. And that's exactly what Anthony has set up. Is his theory is, if my mother can use it, then anybody can use it. And that's what it's about. It's about making it available and easy. And I mean, we do have a bespoke team. So if somebody is looking for something a little bit more kind of technical and sexy, I mean, we have got some customers on there that we've got a guy who does bespoke mattresses for yachts, for example. So he needed a really kind of complex calculator whereby, you know, there's 5 edges to it and things like that. And I mean, that kind of stuff, when you're actually looking at the back end of things, is quite technical. I mean, for me, I think that should be quite easy, because I'm not a coder, but the developers who are going to listen, the maths in it is very complex to be able to make it accurate. But we have the support there. We have that for the customers. So if there is something that they need a little bit more kind of, like I say, bespoke and things, then the service is there. But generally speaking, we're there for people to be able to get up and running and doing what they love quite quickly.
Do you have something that links into the stock ordering system? Because that was something.
Absolutely. Yep. We do. We've got an advanced management tool. We've got an eBay integration. I mean, we've got over 30 or 40 features there that are available for customers to use. Postcode locator and all that kind of stuff. I mean, yeah, there's nothing that you want outside of what we've already got on offer, you know.
Doing it for 17 years, so you've come across all the permutations.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think what these guys have done is they've actually looked at what's necessary and what's important and what contributes to a good functioning website, and they've made that easily available for customers. Okay, I mean, I know that on other platforms, those kind of functions or those features would certainly cost you a few quid if you're going to bring them into your simple shop, so to speak. Whereas with EKM, it's all about ease. It's all about doing the right thing. It's all about, you know, making an impact, ensuring that customer's happy. It's about making sure that if that customer loves what they do, then we're going to love what they do, because we all love what we do at EKM. You know, we love being able to help customers to get, and I mean, now, especially with this COVID thing, is like, oh, I'm so proud to work with somebody like EKM, because so many businesses are going, crikey, I need help. I don't know what I'm doing. I need, and they can't afford to wait a year to learn it.
No.
You know? And I mean, one of the beautiful things is we've established, I don't know if I've said this, but EKM have set up an academy. And what they've done is they've recognized that, hey, you know, let's start educating people. And you don't have to be in the EKM platform in order to be able to benefit from the academies. So anybody listening to this podcast right now, go and have a look at the EKM Academy and see what courses we've got there for you. I mean, you know, there's one there that teaches, there's 4 or 5 modules there. You can kind of learn on how to set up a business and how to get online and So it's all about caring and sharing and making sure that we're making stuff available for customers without the threat that you're going to have to buy something from us. Yeah, you know.
So that's a great place to leave it regarding EKM. I just wanted to ask you a little bit about Schoultz. Where did that come from? Because that sounds like Swiss or Austrian.
Well, my father's Zimbabwean, but he from a Dutch background. So yeah, I think the Schultz is, there's various different ways of spelling Schultz. So apparently, depending on how it's spelled, will define its whether you're related or not. That's what my grandfather told me anyway. But fundamentally, we're Dutch.
Okay, yeah.
Dutch. Yeah,
I thought it might have been a Dutch connection
yeah,
because it's Zimbabwe
yeah,
and stuff, but it
yeah,
sounds more Swiss
yeah.
or you know, like.
Yeah. No. It's apparently it's Dutch. When I was growing up, I thought we were Germans, but no, we're not. We're not Germans. We're of Dutch origin, but I'm fourth generation Zimbabwean.
Yeah.
You know, so
Okay.
yeah.
Did you come? So was you from? You weren't from the UK. So what was?
No, well, my mother's family are British, and my dad's family are Afrikaans. So I was lucky enough to be able to come back to the UK through my mother's channel, because obviously Zimbabwe is a bit of a politically unstable country at the moment, or has been for a while. So
The thing when you know the inflation went super high, didn't it? Super.
that's it. Yeah. I worry about the Zimbabweans because obviously in this epidemic at the moment, they've got no NHS system. There's no support. So I think, you know, if you get sick, then you're on your own. Unless you've got money, then you're on your own. You know, and I sympathise with the Africans because some of their living conditions can be quite harrowing. You know, I mean, it's definitely a third world country. You know.
Really, other than South Africa, I think most of Africa is, if they're ill, they're ill, and there's not nothing they'll be able to do through this COVID. So
Yeah, it's sad, isn't it? Because, you know, Africa is such a beautiful place, and there's just so much. There's so much space and so much. I mean, there's so much sunshine, cracky, and when there's sunshine, there's things that happen, you know. And you just wish that somebody would get in there and just try and kind of manage it, and recognize that they've got this great opportunity to be able to feed themselves as well as the rest of the world. But unfortunately, I think, you know, history has kind of introduced this whole kind of you know, it's so corrupt. I mean, it's unfortunate, and that corruption is across most countries in Africa, in my opinion. You know,
it's all about,
so
business is all about bungs and deals and stuff like that. You know, brown paper.
yeah, exactly, and looking after each other. I mean, I was watching something on YouTube the other day, and they've kind of arrested a journalist who was trying to expose a story about apparently 160 million pounds was sent over for PPE equipment, and that's just disappeared. Nobody knows where it is. I mean, that's a typical story in Zimbabwe, you know, and that frustrates the heavens out of me because, you know, that money was sent over in goodwill. Somebody's taken it.
You know, things like that all the time with charities.
Yeah.
You know, the money doesn't end up where you hope it will.
Yeah.
There we are. What do you like doing when you're not working with EKM and networking?
Well, I mean, I'm very much I like I'm a bit of a spiritual person, so I like my crystals, and I'm into all sorts of holistic stuff. I like I've got a bit of a project on the sideline at the moment with green emissions, so zero emissions energy. So it's trying to kind of look after the universe and things like that. Yeah, I mean, I like I'm a bit of a tarot person. I like all the spooky stuff, you know.
Yeah.
All the spooky stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm always a bit shy to talk about it because some people don't really get it. You know, and
I probably used to be one of those people. I'm quite a logical brain, and but I also more recently, I'm a believer in I've always believed in sort of karma. Really, what goes around comes
right.
Spiritually.
Oh, good. Okay, so if you're into karma, then you've got it.
Yeah.
Because it's there, isn't it? You see it, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, I sometimes I'll see karma happen within a couple of hours.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, oh, you know.
But I'm a believer in sort of the power of the universe, and you know, like you know, things like you know, talk to yourself and your psyche, and you know, put out there what you want, and it'll happen. That sort of stuff. You know, like big into the personal development space, if you want it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also about that kind of. I actually had a conversation with somebody earlier on today about it, and she's actually into shamanism and things like that. And you know, the conversation was all about, like, you know, I think a lot of people have money has made us reach out, and now I think all of this epidemic, in my opinion, is making us reach inside, because suddenly now we have to reestablish what our values are and what's important to us. And I mean, money is a great tool, but it's not the be all and end all. And I think when you do something you love and care about and are passionate about, then all the blessings, and money being one of them, will suddenly start to come your way, you know. But when you're doing something purely with that greed intention, it's not going to work out, I don't think, in my opinion.
I think you're right as well about this pandemic, letting people find their humanity and the human side. So I think it's a bit like World War II. You know, the people were much better after World War II because they were all in it together. You know,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I suppose you're absolutely right. It brings like a unity, doesn't it?
that's
This
what
is this is
that's the
bringing
best
a
thing.
unity.
That's why you get to know your neighbours now, and
Mm,
appreciation for people who are, you know, putting their lives on the line for you
mm,
know, helping a
mm,
fellow man out and all that sort of thing.
mm,
I think there will be now. I think we were getting to a spoiled, you know, money orientated, materialistic, shallow, not so much depth society, and I think this will bring about some you know, some depth to people,
yes.
more, you know, a bit more
Yeah.
sincerity, a bit more
But also it'll make people realize, hang on here for a moment. I mean, we are actually robots at the moment. How many people just fumble to work, get on with the job, come home? They fumble to work, get on with the job, come home. I mean, now is the best time to actually just look at your lives and go, hang on here for a moment. What is going to make me happy? What makes me happy? What makes me buzz in the mornings when I get up? And I mean, if you haven't got that, go and find it, because it's there. It's there for you if you want it. And if this epidemic is not the warning sign, then I don't know what is. I don't know what is,
a
because
lot of people have contemplated, you know, am I living my best life? Can I, you know, and this is why things will never go back to normal, because there's
no,
a massive percentage of people who won't want to go back to. They've been given an alternative view of life now. Like we've
that's it.
been it for 8 years. They've
I
joined,
mean,
you know, and why would they want to go back?
this is it. I mean, you know, EKM have now announced that we're able to obviously work from home, but we're an e-commerce platform, so there's been no difference. I mean, it's just the environment that's changed. I mean, obviously, you know, we're a tech company, so it's a case of we're all plugged in. I mean, there was no disruption to what we did when we all went into lockdown. And prior to lockdown, a lot of us were going, oh, we want to work from home because and now we're working from home. There's been, like I said, there's been no change in what we do. And I mean, what I've found is, you know, suddenly there's so much more time in the day.
Yeah.
There's so much more time, and there's so much more value to
Because,
what
you
I
know,
do.
this is what I always valued in my day for the last 8 years, is not having to commute an hour, you know, either side of the day, and have
That's
wasted
it.
meetings and traveling around, you know, for coffees and all that, when
That's it.
losing money just in the car and in traffic jams and just wasted time. And you add it all up, and it, you know, now we get all of that time back again.
That's it. That's it. And now you can actually do something more positive with things.
Yeah.
And this is where all the relationship things come from. I mean, you're now able to you've got time to be able to spend with people. I mean, okay, you can't go and see them, but then we're lucky enough to have technology that allows Zoom calls, like for example today, and da, da, da. So you know what? Where there's a good, there's a bad, but somehow the universe just plugs in and just goes, okay, fine. You can't go and see that person, but don't worry, you can pick up the phone and make a phone call.
Yeah.
And in fact, I probably spend more time on my phone now, because obviously I'm reaching out to my friends, than I did before, when they would, because I was terrible. I never used to reach out to my friends, because obviously all day long I'm on the phone talking to whoever I'm talking to, and then I come home and the last thing I want to do is get on a phone call. But
Yeah.
now I need to, because I need to remain, you know, keep those connections going. Otherwise, you know, these four walls are going to start driving me nuts.
Yeah, yeah. I much prefer speaking. I used to do telesales jobs, and then
Okay.
sales, and now Zoom sales is much better. You know, because you haven't got to do the traveling that you got to do in field sales. But with telesales,
Yeah.
you can't see people. But with Zoom sales or Zoom communications and relationship,
Yeah. Yeah.
you can see and hear But you haven't travel.
Yeah. That's it. That's it. It's like this evening. I mean, like, 7 o'clock. Okay, cool. Blah blah blah. And it's like, okay, fine. I can have a bath and have some dinner, and then I'm like, okay, fine. I don't have to go and worry about traffic or because I mean, it. I think life's become a lot easier.
Yeah, for me, it hasn't changed too much because I've been doing it for the last 8 years. But since I've been doing it for the last 8 years, life has become.
But you're just showing off now, aren't you?
Yeah. I still have to go out and have meetings with people and do events in the real world.
Yeah.
Expected.
I mean, that's one thing that's kind of different is the event side of things. I mean, I was at a networking event today and they had all these tables and things. And I mean, they didn't kind of explain to me how it was all working. And then I realized I had to go and click on the various different tables if I wanted to talk to people. But I mean, it wasn't quite the same.
It was Remo, yeah? Was you in Remo?
No, I don't know what it was. I really, honestly, I couldn't tell you because it looked like they just set up this. Is that like a package? Because I'm still learning about the whole kind of online networking thing.
And there's like different tables, and you got to go into the rooms, and they'd be like,
in
the room.
Okay, maybe that's what they were using because I haven't really had an opportunity to kind of like explore it. I mean, I was invited to it yesterday late evening. I was like, okay, fine, I'll go. And then when I got there, they had this like counter clock that was going across the screen, and they were like, "Come on, Tanya, you need to go and move tables." I was like, "Well, I didn't know how to move tables. Oh, just double click on it." And I was like, "Okay, fine." I double click on it, but I just landed up sitting on the same table, and everybody came to me. I just thought that's easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then that's the old school, isn't it?
Yeah, I do speed networking on a Thursday.
Okay.
And it's in America, and there's people from around the world, and they do lots of breakout rooms. So they'll put 4 people in a room, and then put 4 more in a room, but you'll be with different people. So you just have a chat like we are now, but there'll be 4 screens on there, and we just all have usually do it alphabetically. So depending on the names, someone goes first, then next, then next, then next.
Yeah.
And everyone just tells a little bit about what they do, and there's usually questions you've got to answer, or so you to open up and talk. But I love it.
Well, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Since because you see during lockdown, it's been a bit sparse with the networking stuff because I don't think everybody's really realized what to do and how to do it and all that kind of stuff. So now, I mean, over the last, certainly since the beginning of September, there's been a lot more networking opportunities for me. And I mean, it's just easy. It's so easy. You can get so many places so quickly, can't you?
Well, I used to do 2 or 3 real world events a week, sometimes 1 or 2, sometimes 2 or 3. And during lockdown, I started doing 6 a week regularly. And then more recently, the last probably month or 2, I was doing up to 10 a week.
Good Lord.
Because they don't.
You know what, I can.
With a lot of them, you only have to talk for 2 minutes, then you listen to all the rest.
Well, this is the problem, you see, Mike. I can't talk for just 2 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what? If there was an Olympic event for talking, I'd win it.
Good talker as well, mine. But you said this is your first podcast.
Yeah, it's my first one. How did I do? I'm a virgin. How did I do?
Sometimes people like ask them a question, like an open question or whatever, and then you get a short answer, then you have to keep asking. Has
it been easy for you tonight then, Mike?
Yeah, just a conversation, really. Just like both do a lot of networking anyway, because you said you do a lot of networking, I do too. So it's just
it's easy, isn't it? Yeah, but it's just the whole idea of a podcast, isn't it? You've got to get your head around it, and then like, okay, fine, it's fine. I say it's like a webinar.
The chat on Zoom, you've been doing it all summer, all spring, all summer.
Yeah, no, I know. I speak to everybody all day long. It's just there's no phone in there. It's just like I'm facing you now, isn't it? Really? Yeah.
But I'm going to leave it there because we've been coming up to an hour now, and
yes,
I'm supposed to have another 8 o'clock as well, but I've been multitasking while we've on. I've sent the message out and I haven't had a reply back.
Just to say, I've got Tanya and she just won't shut up.
We always send a message out just to see if they're ready to come online.
Listen,
I know if
I appreciate your time, really, Mike. Honestly, I've really enjoyed spending some time with you this evening,
yes,
and I thank you for the opportunity to share about our affiliate program. And hopefully, you'll come. I mean, what I'll do is I'll touch base with you tomorrow to see how you feel about things. But I mean, if anybody else is out there that wants to kind of speak to EKM about it, then we've got an affiliate landing page that they can just go and register their details, and I'll be happy to talk to them.
yeah.
As
And
long as they've got lots of time.
I'm definitely interested. So I say
Okay, good.
5% really. So I just got to look at the information and that'll put me to a.
Fantastic. Well, I'll touch base with you tomorrow,
My,
and I'll
my email is mikearmstrong@mikearmstrong.me.
easy, so easy. I don't even need to write that down.
No, you'll remember that.
Mike Armstrong. It's not Mike dot Armstrong.
No, just
Mike Armstrong at Armstrong.me.
Yeah. And I remember
Very
doing
cool.
that all the time because I do social media marketing. So I always got to
Yeah.
do the domain. Otherwise, if you type it and it's one thing wrong, then it won't work.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'll reach out to you on LinkedIn. Don't you worry. I'll find you. I've got you. You're in my sights now, hey?
I'll one-to-one you on. So with a lot of the Zoom chats, we have there's the chats where you have a chat on the side, yeah.
Mm.
Do a lot of one-to-one networking in that chat.
Okay.
Otherwise, you just listen to everyone's pitches, but you're not actually having a two-way conversation.
No, exactly.
Yeah?
Exactly.
I have a solution
Okay.
to that, so I need to have a two-way conversation. So I live in the chat, while a 2-hour event's going on, I'm
Yeah.
everyone pitching, but I'm in there chatting and asking
Yeah.
questions and all that, So when you join us on Friday, I'll probably
Okay.
get in and say, if I haven't seen the email or whatever, I get in there and say, oh, here's my email address, I haven't seen it, blah, blah, blah.
No. I'll find you. Don't you worry. Hey, I'm
I'm
telling
easy.
you, I'm good at that. Yeah,
Well,
I'm good at
what
that.
I've got to do is look for hashtag my
Especially when you dangle a carrot like I'll find you affiliates. Oh.
yeah, speak to Andrew wasn't it?
Yeah.
Speak to Anthony
Anthony.
another layer because, like for example, if I can find an affiliate and I make a small percentage on all the
Yep.
affiliates I find, yeah, that
Yep.
that would and that's a whole layer you haven't got at the moment. So you could find
That's it.
for affiliates as well, and they could just do the recruitment for you for affiliates.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you've got that network in place, I'm sure we can come up with something.
I know
I'm definitely
global
open to.
our networkers, so I can introduce you to a few people, and all of a sudden you've got loads of affiliates coming your way.
Mm.
Yes.
I'd love that. I'd love you forever, Mike. You'd be my favorite.
Yeah, well, that's I'm always in that position after a while.
Because you know what, the reason why it's because I know what we deliver from as a business, and I mean, it's. I think I think everybody should sign up to EKM because it's there's no hidden agenda with EKM.
It sounds fantastic. So once I like to look into it, a bit of detail myself. I'm a detail person, but it sounds fantastic. So
Fantastic.
If it sort of stacks up, if you like, to what I've
Yeah.
it sounds to me like a bit of a no-brainer.
No, it is a no-brainer. It is a no-brainer. And I mean, now is the time to do this because everybody's going to be moving forward into this world of e-commerce.
There should be a big rush. There should be a big rush because I think some people in the last lockdown, a lot of people did, but some thought, oh, well, it'll soon go away and then I'll get back to normal then. But I think now it's gone back to second lockdown as well, and nobody really knows when the end game is in sight.
Yeah, they need to start doing something.
Another wave again now, there'll be another wave. And also,
but I think
businesses who don't even sell e-commerce, like don't even sell online or don't sell products and stuff, even service businesses, they can find a way of selling stuff online in e-commerce.
That's it.
That's it. Sell,
That's it.
I'm not even looking at myself for myself as well, So watch this space, and I look forward to Friday and for catching up and finding out more about the affiliate.
Okay.
All right then.
My pleasure, darling. Thank you so much for your time this evening. I love the flag.
No problem at all. It's a great flag. It's got a dragon on it. Not many of them.
Yay! I like a dragon.
Yeah. Thanks very much for coming on the podcast and sharing information about the opportunities.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, Mike. You take care. Stay safe, eh? Enjoy your 8 o'clock at 1:15.
Yeah. No problem. Cheers.
Bye-bye. Cheers.
Right, there's nothing else left to say other than have a great day. I know I will. And thanks very much for listening. Cheers. Bye-bye.